All right, so today is Wednesday, the 30th of October 2024. We have just a day for the month to end. Please mute your device as you're joining this class so that you don't cause distractions. All right, so we have our analysis. We're having an analysis session now. We start with the fundamentals, then we go to the technicals. So in the course of the night, Nigerian time here, 1:30 a.m., there was CPI released in Australia, and it came out bad for the Australian dollar. That's already a past event. So we look at the events that are still upcoming today so that we'll know how to prepare ahead for it. Good morning, Mr. Olawale and Macaulay. So today, there's going to be the German prelim CPI monthly, and which is from the Eurozone, is an all-day event. So this is going to happen all day. And by 9 a.m., there will be the Spanish flash CPI yearly from the Eurozone again, but this time around a medium impact event. And by 10 a.m., there will be the SNB chairman Schlegel speech from Switzerland. And okay, and that'll be all for the morning session. In the afternoon.
No. What does no come?
Okay, I'm sorry, I need to mute everyone. This is all right. So these are the events we have this morning. In the afternoon, there'll be ADP non-farm employment change, advanced GDP, and so on, but that's not the focus now. The focus is this morning session. So there are two events for this morning session, and that's the German prelim CPI monthly, which is an all-day event. That means the data can be released anytime in the course of the day. Can see that there's no specific time allocated to it. It can be so. That means you need to be very careful of the Euro pairs today. This can come up anytime. And the other one also from the Eurozone, Spanish flash CPI yearly is coming up by 9 o'clock. So this should be the one that we are putting our focus on. Now, the one the one coming from Switzerland is coming up by 10 a.m. It's a speech. Most likely it will not be tradable, but it may really impact upon the market. So all we're saying is that this morning we need to be very careful with the CHF, with the CHF pairs, and even the euro. Well, for the euro, 9 o'clock we can still be guided, but beyond 9 o'clock, we need to be careful since the German prelim CPI it can come up any time of the day. So we need to be careful with both the euro and the CHF for this morning session. Other pairs can be traded. Other pairs can be traded as other pairs can be traded as necessary, while we are careful with the euro and the CHF pairs. So for this German prelim CPI, let's quickly look at what it all entails. It measures the change in the price of goods and services purchased by consumers, and actual greater than forecast is good for the currency. So okay, that's the German prelim. I wanted to check the Spanish flash CPI. I wanted to check the Spanish flash CPI. So it is the change in the price of goods and services purchased by consumers, and actual greater than forecast is good for the currency. So by 9 o'clock, we'll check the data. The forecast is 1.7%. If we have a data higher than 1.7%, that means that the actual is greater than forecast, and that should lead to some bullish movement on the euro pairs. And if the actual is less, that is less than 1.7%, that will lead to some bearish movement. However, I don't really see much volatility on this instrument, largely because it's a medium impact event. But then you can't be too certain. Let's just trade with caution as much as possible. So I'll flip over now to the technicals and we'll look at what we'll have, technically for today. Now, in terms of technicals, to be honest, the market is very, very quiet, and it's understandable for many reasons. Many setups are not just forming, many are not aligning. Some setup comes today, the next thing before it materializes, market changes direction. All that is happening largely, especially on the dollar pairs, For two major reasons. One, NFP is Friday. The week of NFP, the market is often quiet. Let me say sometimes. There are times when it could be active, but this is one of the times when the market is very, very quiet ahead of NFP. That happens. And secondly, United States election is coming up next week. So the dollar is equally trying to kind of range before the release. Election is one of the major indicators that can move the economy. So the dollar is really, really on a quiet state, anticipating the election. Those are two major reasons why the dollar has not been stable, in for some days now. But then we'll still trade when we see the right opportunity and if the right volatility comes into the market. So for technicals this morning, we'll still have a look at some of the peers we've checked in the past. Like the Euro USD, we maintained a bullish outlook on the Euro USD for a while. It's still bullish, though earlier on we're trying to see it as an inverse head and shoulder, which was to trigger upwards, but there wasn't sufficient volatility to push that. Currently, the pattern is changing, to something that looks more like a double bottom pattern, which is still expected to trigger us upwards. I always say sometimes patterns can change, but then the market structure will not change. If the structure is to go bullish, whether the pattern changes or not, it will still eventually go bullish. So if the right volatility comes into the market and price is able to break above this neckline region where I drew the blue line, then we may have a need to trigger a buy on the Euro USD. So we still maintain our bullish outlook on the Euro USD pending the time when price is able to break this neckline region upwards for us to trigger a buy trade. And the same thing is happening also to the USD CHF. For this one also, we've been bearish for a while. Yesterday also we're thinking of maybe a head and shoulder pattern. That was the pattern that was forming initially, but then the market forces was able to override that pattern, and currently it's looking a lot more like a double top pattern, just like we're seeing the double bottom on Euro USD. So we're expecting it to trigger downwards, and that will also happen if price is able to break out below this neckline region. So if sufficient volatility comes in today, and price is able to break that level. And don't forget, there are still some fundamental events this afternoon which may trigger that, because in the afternoon, there will be the ADP non-farm employment change and advanced GDP, both at 1:15 and 1:30 p.m. If this dollar-based news brings sufficient volatility, then we may see a breakout, on both Euro USD and the USD CHF. So let's just anticipate that and wait patiently. Now, other pairs that I'll talk about this morning, I'm looking closely at the GBP card. I mentioned this one yesterday. It was meant to trigger yesterday, but somehow the market wasn't able to do that. But I think today we should be expecting some trigger on the GBP card. Now, this GBP card on the daily time frame, you can see it's been trading on an uptrend, due to the ascending trend line or the rising wedge pattern that it has formed over a period of time. Now, coincidentally, price hits a resistance level on the daily time frame. You can see we have a valid resistance, and last night price closed on that same resistance level on the daily time frame. Now, this is all already trying to form what we can call a triple top pattern, and that's really a reversal pattern. So price at a resistance with the triple top technically means we are looking for an opportunity for a bearish movement in price. So I flipped straight down to 1 hour, and this is what I'm seeing on 1 hour. I can draw a rising wedge. Price is still trading around that resistance on daily. So all I need to do is just have my rising wedge drawn on 1 hour, and we'll be looking to sell if price breaks out below the lower trend line. So we can look at this today. This should trigger in the course of today. It's still early in the morning. It's still 7 a.m. This can happen, in the course of today. So if it happens, then we can trigger a sell on GBP card on 1 hour time frame. So I'm bearish on the GBP card for today. Now, I don't have much instruments to analyze this morning. This is the first. I have just two other ones to show us, and we can round up this session. So secondly, I'm looking today at the BTC USD. BTC USD. Now, BTC USD is also trading at a resistance level at $73,350 per BTC. Now, it's been a long time before price, gets back again to this level. The last time price was exactly on this level was, let's check. That was a 2024 March. It was March this year. Price got to this level last. So price is back to that resistance level. Will price break it or not? Well, we don't know yet. We can just watch and observe as this unfolds. But what I know is that technically, when price hits a resistance, we're looking for an opportunity to sell. So we'll go down to 1 hour and look out for a bearish opportunity. Now, I'm citing one at the moment, and I'm citing the formation of a shoulder, a head, a second shoulder, and we can anticipate a breakout, from the neckline when price breaks below the neckline region. Now, in this case, this is the neckline. So once a new candle opens below that neckline region, we'll be ready to trigger a sell on BTC USD. So we're bearish on the BTC USD. And finally, we have the DJ30. Now, for this DJ30, I've been watching it, I think, since Friday last week, thereabout, anticipating a bullish breakout. Now, we can see on this instrument that on the daily time frame, we have a rising wedge pattern. Price has made a series of higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows. So the next wave should be the, higher high. So it's a bullish trend. That's what is expected next. Now, simultaneously, we also, if you flip down to the 4 hour, we have a resistance turned support on this axis here, which also signifies a bullish movement, just like the II we're expecting on the daily time frame. But what makes this one unique is also the fact that there's also now the formation of what looks a lot like an inverse head and shoulder, which should trigger price in the bullish direction. So with this, we have a bullish outlook on the DJ30. Now, this is a 4-hour setup. It's a swing setup. So if sufficient volatility returns into the market, we should see price, go up and break above the neckline for us to trigger a buy on the DJ30. So we're bullish on the DJ30 on 4 hour. All right, so that'll be all from my analysis this morning. Let me just do a little recap. Like I said, dollar is not too stable. NFP on Friday, US election coming up next week. So it's bringing a lot of, quietness into the dollar. So, but then if some news comes out to really, really volatile, that can bring back the spark in the US dollar. So we still maintain our bullish outlook on the Euro USD and our bearish outlook on the USD CHF. But then what's the main focus for today's analysis? We're looking at GBP CAD and we're bearish on GBP CAD on 1 hour. And we're also bearish on the BTC USD on 1 hour, while we're bullish on the DJ30 on 4 hour. So that'll be all from my end this morning. If you have a question or any instrument you want me to analyze, you can post it and I will just attend to you right away. All right, Mr. Ikwen is asking me to check GU, MK, GBP CHF. So let's look at both GBP pairs, GBP USD and GBP CHF. I will start with the GBP CHF. Now, this GBP CHF on daily time frame, yeah, I think I mentioned this instrument maybe yesterday thereabout. We have a downtrend. Price is trending down, so we are on a bearish trend. That's on one side. On the other side is our price also hit a resistance here, giving us a confluence which should lead to a bearish breakout. All this happening on the daily time frame. So you can see that we have that valid resistance on 4 hour, which should trigger us into the bearish direction. Let's go down to 1 hour. There's no clarity at the moment on 1 hour. On on 30 minutes, 15 minutes, what was forming earlier was a head and shoulder here, which should have triggered a further bearish movement. But then the pattern lost its strength. It lost its strength. So what the other possibility we can look out for now is if price is able to drop, go up like it's showing, possibly from a double top, then we can see a reversal downwards. So if that is what happens, then we'll be looking to trade once price breaks out below the neckline in this area here. Then, once it breaks below here, we can trigger a sell. So that's the next possibility I can see around this instrument. We'll still maintain a bearish outlook, but wait for a perfect setup to trigger us into that bearish direction. So that's my outlook for GBP CHF. Now for GBP JPY, for GBP JPY, we've been on a bearish outlook too, waiting for a clear breakout likewise. Now we have a previous support turned resistance on this instrument and a rising wedge, which is to trigger in the bearish direction. However, it's not yet time to trigger anything because you can see price has not been stable right from the beginning of this week. You can see all the kind of range that has been giving us. So we're only looking to sell this if price is able to break out below this pattern. We have a rising wedge pattern there. But let's see if we can go to a lower time frame like 1 hour. This is 1 hour and we're still looking at selling. All right. So if we're looking at selling on 1 hour, we can draw a trend line right here. So let me clean up the rising wedge on 4 hour. And we have something smaller to work with, a smaller pattern. So we have a rising wedge pattern on 1 hour. So you can look to take a sell if price, you can see price is still hitting that resistance again on the daily. So if price reverses downwards and breaks out below this neckline, you'll be looking at taking a sell on GBP JPY. And confirmation should be your RSI below 50, for you to trigger a sell on the GBP JPY. So we're bearish both on the GBP CHF and the GBP JPY. So I've attended to ICPEN and the MK. Rebecca is asking us to look at NAS 100 or LABU as a card. So let's start with the NAS 100. Now I think we've had a bearish outlook on NAS 100, yes, because last week price closed at a resistance level on the weekly time frame. But then this week it seems this instrument is gathering up strength, but this is the weekly time frame. Let's go down to the daily. Now this old zone here is a resistance zone from what we saw on the weekly time frame, meaning reversal can happen from anywhere within this zone. So it's not the price touches the tip. It may touch the tip at the end of the day, but then a reversal can occur anywhere from within that resistance zone. So this is 4 hour. And let's flip down again to 1 hour. Well, currently I'm not really seeing any reversal pattern, but let's still keep checking. Okay, I think I'm seeing the formation of a rising wedge. All right, we have a rising wedge pattern. So what I can see here that may happen is this price, two things, price may go up again. You can see this current candle is looking like a bullish candle. Price may still go up to hit this resistance up here before we see a breakout. That's a possibility. Or it may just go up and not touch the trend line. So now form a double top, then now reverse downwards from there. Now, if whatever happens, either it hits the trend line or it forms a double top, this this area here becomes a serious point to focus our attention on this tip here, because that can just be a place where you can trigger a faster entry on these instruments when price is reversing back downwards. So you may be looking to take an entry when price breaks out below this area now becomes like the neckline. At least you can use that to ride the trend to this region if you want to like kind of scalp, or you wait for price to break out below the lower trend line of the rising wedge pattern for you to trigger a sell. So it's either you do that or you wait for an actual breakout below this region to trigger a sell. But either way, we are bearish on the NAS 100. And USD card is the next one from Mr. Owolabi. Now for USD card, we've been bearish on this also since yesterday. Maybe the breakout will happen today. You can see on the weekly time frame, it's trading around the weekly resistance level. It's actually within a resistance zone on the weekly time frame. And on the daily time frame, it's still on the resistance region. This whole axis here is purely resistance. So reversal can happen also on any part of this pattern we are seeing, of this zone rather. So we can draw our trend line here to have our minor rising wedge pattern on 1 hour. And we'll be looking to take a sell anytime price reverses and breaks out below this pattern. And again, confirmation should be your RSI below 50. So that'll be time to trigger a sell on USD card. So I'm bearish on USD card. There's no signal yet on online lights. There's no signal yet. We are just giving analysis. There's no clarity for a signal, but we'll see when we drop. For those who are just joining, I said the market is a bit quiet. So when the market is quiet, you need to wait. Three things we do in trading: we buy, we sell, we wait. Now, waiting is one of the most difficult things we're able to do because there's always this tendency to want to just trigger a trade. It's not all the time there will be an opportunity to trade. When the market is not giving clarity, the best you can do is to stay out. Staying out is as good as winning because you're not risking your account in any way. So it's better to wait until there's enough clarity for you to pick to take the trade. All right, EBS is asking me to check AUD JPY. Now, the JPY pairs, they are more fundamental driven. So I will advise you trade it with a lot of caution. Sometimes you may actually say setup, but before you know what is happening, there may either be a retracement or a complete change in direction. But currently, what I can see here, you can see we have a rising wedge pattern. It's still a rising wedge, and price seems to have broken out. Price has broken out. We've seen a breakout here. However, currently there's price still needs to break this support. It still needs to break that support level for you to trigger a sell. So if a new candle opens below that block I just drew, then you can trigger a sell. But then still be careful because JPY pairs these days can be very, very funny. You may trigger a sell and the thing may still decide to go up. So the fundamentals around it is not so favorable at the moment. So I will advise you trade with a lot of caution and make sure you have your proper risk management in place for the JPY pairs. All right, Aldi, Babatunde, they're asking me to check gold. Now, technically, we are bearish on the dollar, even though the market is quiet, but technically what we can see, this is a dollar index. This is a weekly resistance and it's forming more like a triple top this time around, which should trigger a bearish movement. So technically the dollar is bearish. And I said yesterday, if the dollar is bearish, we should be looking at gold going higher. But then there's no clarity for entry on gold for now. So if you have to trade gold, trade with a lot of caution. Yeah, it may go higher, but it's always good to have a valid reason. Don't just say, oh, because it said it will go higher, so let me just enter a buy. That's not a good way to trade. If you must buy gold, if price can drop again to test this trend line, then we can take, as a retest, then we can trade it as it triggers upward again. But it's important to also know that if price drops first, upon getting to this region, if it has a candlestick pattern or a chart pattern, this would be a good one for us to now trigger, price into the upward direction. Or better still, wait for the news in the afternoon. There are $2 based events in the afternoon. The outcome of those news will actually determine the next move of gold for today. If the news comes out, good for the dollar, then gold may sell. And if it comes out bad for the dollar, then gold may buy. So you may just as well wait for the news. That's about 1:30, 1:15, 1:30 p.m. this afternoon. So a lot of people are asking about gold. So that's my view on gold. All right, USD JPY, Mr. Raji. Yeah, same thing. Dollar is just ranging. You can see we've had a rising wedge pattern on a daily resistance, since Monday thereabout, anticipating a breakout. So if volatility returns to the dollar, there could be a breakout. So our outlook on the USD is still bearish, only that the market is very quiet. You can see it's in a range. Once there's a breakout of price, then you can trigger a sell on USD. Smart. I'm currently on the buy trade on Euro USD. Should I close it? Well, that depends on a lot of factors. So what level of risk are you exposed to? You know, Euro USD is bullish, only that there's no sufficient volatility to push it up yet. Never can tell in the afternoon if the news comes out bad for the dollar. If it comes out bad for the dollar, Euro USD will surely push up. So if your account is not exposed to too much risk, you may as well just hold it. But that decision, I can't make it for you because you're the one that knows the status of your account. So I can't say close. So you can now judge by what you have. Is your account really exposed or is just a minimal exposure? If it's minimal exposure, you can leave it. But if you feel you can't wait because of the level of exposure, well, it's at your discretion to close. Okay, I think I've attended to everybody. So, Kayla, Euro USD, we've talked about Euro USD, we are bullish. Though market is not moving yet, but our outlook is bullish on the Euro USD. All right, so that will be all for our analysis this morning. GBP we've looked at GBP I think so. We say we're bearish. That's for Vatunde Lawal. We're bearish on GBP That's the direction. But we still anticipate, okay, we've not talked. Okay, I think we looked at GBP not GBP But then we've been on this analysis since Monday. Today is Wednesday. We've had a bullish outlook on the GBP and it still remains that bullish outlook. The only thing is that markets volatility has been low, especially on the dollar. So maybe this today, if some volatility comes in, and the reason why the market is not volatile, two reasons, which I explained to those who joined us earlier. One, there's NFP on Friday. Most of the time, NFP week, dollar is always quiet because those major currencies, the countries are waiting for the release of the NFP. America is waiting for the release of the NFP to determine the next move of the dollar. So usually the week of NFP, the dollar is usually in a ranging state most of the time. So that's one reason why the dollar has been quiet this week. The second reason also is because next week is the US election. So before the election, the market will have to go quiet. Everybody's anticipating who will win the election because whoever wins the election will determine the next direction of the American economy, which is largely driven by what is happening to the dollar. So those are two major reasons why the dollar has been on the quiet side. But there are two news events this afternoon from the United States by 1:15, 1:30 p.m. If those events comes out, bad for the dollar because technically we are bearish on the dollar. If they come out bad for the dollar, then you will see that both the Euro USD, the GBP USD will break out of their range upwards. So we just wait for that news to be released to know the next thing to do with the dollar. All right, all the goods. So what is the lot size to use on $1,800? I would say don't go beyond 0.1. 0.1 is still very, very safe for you to use on $1,800. You promised us a video on currency pairs. No, not me, maybe some other person. So for the person asking about that lot size to use on 1,800, 1,800 is just as good as close to $2,000. Maximum, just use 0.1, you'll be safe. So it's not just about increasing your lot size, you also look at the safety of your account, which is very important. With the 0.1 lot, you can still be very safe. If you, by the time your account gets to 2,000 and above 2,000, maybe you may want to go to 0.2. But for now, just maintain a 0.1. You'll be very safe with that. All right, you're welcome, Kele. Okay, so this is going to be the end of our analysis for this morning. Again, if you're yet to open an account with PU Prime, you're new to the platform, go over to our website right now, www.puprime.com. So open a live trading account. And don't forget, NFP comes up by Friday, 1:15 p.m. You also need to have a funded account to join us for that live trading session. It's just 2 days away. So if you don't have an account yet and you want to trade with us, go ahead, open your account, verify your account, and fund to be a part of that live trading session. And again, you are on the platform, you are new completely to Forex trading, then all these things we're saying will look a lot strange to you because they'll be too advanced for you. So if that's your situation, I will encourage you to join our physical training sessions, which happens twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at our two offices, both in Abuja and Lagos. So you can walk across to any of these two offices, for physical training. Tuesdays beginners class, Thursdays intermediate and advanced class. Our address for Abuja is PA Prime Africa Work and Connect Building, 50 B2 Ukiwe Street, Jabi, Abuja. And the Lagos office address is PA Prime Africa Lagos, Lagos Executive Lounge, 54B Adeniyi Jones Avenue, Ikeja, Lagos. We hope to see you, at these training sessions. We had one yesterday. We're having the next one tomorrow, so you can plan to attend tomorrow training session. Billy Mohammed, hope I'm not too late. Sorry, it's like you're late. We're ending the class now. However, the video will be available on YouTube channel and I'll also drop it in your WhatsApp groups. All right, so that'll be all for now. Take care and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye-bye.